Hey y'all, happy Monday. Welcome to this week's Nap Time Brand Time, where I get my daughter done for nap and then I rush over here and we talk out marketing and branding and design. Everything I talk about in these videos are based on real conversations that I'm having with clients and with friends and with people I know. And so if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I love to talk about this stuff. I love to answer your questions. I want to make sure these videos are something that you're excited about, which it seems like it is. And so I'm glad that worked out today. And so please don't hesitate to ask questions. Okay, so last week we talked about sales. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like a little nervous to talk about sales because I've done a lot of sales, but I've never really thought of myself as a sales expert. You know, it's like there's so many people that I feel like specialize in that. But I did end up making some really big sales last week for myself with Deluxe Design, and which is really exciting. If you follow me on my stories, I landed 2 new like pretty big clients. One of them's a big movie studio, which is kind of exciting. And so I'm really excited about that, and so it kind of like upped my confidence to talk about this a little bit. And so here we are. So I'm going to talk about selling a little bit more because I think it's something that a lot of people are afraid to do. And so I want to tell you the secret behind how I signed those 2 big clients. This is my first 2 months of business, so getting into March. Hey, thanks for jumping on. March is my 3rd month of business, so I'm just going in my 3rd month of business, and I actually booked out almost completely my entire 2nd month of February. I will say that the reason that I was able to do this was because I put myself out there. It's because I put myself out there regularly, consistently, a lot. I just kept putting myself out there. I let myself be seen. And so when I say this though, I feel like I tell people this, and sometimes the response that I get, or a lot of times the response that I get is basically like, Trisha, but you like doing this stuff. You know, you're really comfortable with this. Like, you talk about personal stuff. You're totally comfortable with getting online and just sharing all your personal stuff and putting your face out there. And I just want to say, like, I was so terrified to start this business. Like, do you even know how terrified I was to start this business? To put myself out there publicly as a business owner when I've never owned a business before was pretty terrifying. I did used to act, but it's one thing to like perform a role, and it's another thing to show up like legit as yourself with, you know, like completely as yourself. And I was like, my first live video, I was terrified. I was literally shaking my first live video, and I was afraid that no one would show up. And so I just want to say that it's not easy. It's not easy, and that's okay. And so it's okay if it doesn't feel easy. It's not supposed to. Even people like me that are kind of pretty comfortable with the camera and like okay performing, it's still nerve-wracking. And so just don't feel like there's something wrong with you if this is scary for you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's totally normal because you're putting yourself out there as yourself. That's scary. That's really scary. And so, but I do want to say with that, it's scary, but it's so important. It's so important for your business, you guys. So I just want to say marketing is changing. Marketing is changing. The reason why you have to show your face is because marketing is changing, because nobody wants to deal with a faceless brand anymore, especially at the small business level. It's one thing when you've kind of like garnered a reputation and all of a sudden you're kind of like Apple, and no one really knows who's like behind Apple anymore, but it's Apple. They have the reputation of their product to stand. If you don't quite have the reputation of your service or your product yet, then you are the one that has to like spread that reputation. You are the one that has to put a face to your brand. You have to make your business seem human. So you need to show people behind the business. Especially if you are working with clients in any sort of personal capacity. So if you're doing any sort of service-based business, or if you are a coach, or if you even have a product, but part of that product is them working directly with you, if you want them to spend money to work with you, they need to know who you are. You know, like I'm not going to spend money. I wouldn't spend money on a person, specifically a person, hiring a person to help me if I hadn't at least talked to that person before, or at least seen them, you know, seen them done lives, done something else. No one is going to want to sign up to work with you if they've never met you, you know? And so at least this way, when you put yourself out there online, people already feel comfortable with you. They feel like they've met you. And so I want to go through a few things that I say to myself regularly that help me do this consistently. It's so important to get your face out there. And so these are a few things that kind of like a few kind of tricks, or like mind tricks, or not even mind tricks, but just mentality shifts that hopefully will help you see the importance of still putting yourself out there. So the first thing that I say to myself, and this is something I say to myself a lot, is your mission is greater than your fear. And so I'll say that again. Your mission is greater than your fear. I know that if I don't put myself out there, my ideal client will probably go to somebody else who is putting themselves out there, but maybe isn't as right for them and won't provide the level of service that I will. And which is as a disservice. It's a disservice for them. I feel the responsibility to put myself out there because I know what I'm doing is important. If you're too busy worrying what Christine from high school is going to say about your Insta story, you're missing out on helping a lot of people who could benefit from you. Your fear of possible judgment from a select few people, so possible judgment from a select few people, that fear is keeping you from changing lives right now. That fear is keeping you from putting your product out there and from putting yourself out there. And it's just judgment from a few select people. Who are those people anyway? How important are they? I for sure have those people in my mind that I picture that I like, my haters or people that I'm kind of going like, oh, they would just love to see me fail. And they're probably, maybe they're watching right now. I don't know. I don't care. Because what I do care about is you, Katie. I care about you. I care about the people that are watching. I care about the people that care about what I have to say. I care about you enough to know that it's worth me making a fool of myself on live video. Refocus that attention on the people that you're going to help by showing up. And so same thing, I come because I know that I have you, Katie, and I have Donna, and I have, a few people that come to these live videos that I know that I've helped, and I know that really listen to what I have to say, and so you are the reason why I keep coming. And so there's a quote that I love that says, nobody that has achieved more than you will ever judge you. So nobody that has ever achieved more than you is going to judge you because they're too focused on their mission. They're doing the same thing. They were at step one just where you are, and they were the ones that were just starting, and they put themselves out there. They're not going to be the ones that are judging you. It's going to be the people that are too afraid to do it themselves are going to be the only people judging you. And in the end, all you can do is kind of feel sorry for those people that they weren't able to get to where you are. So make your mission greater than your fear. Your mission over fear. Second one, and so this is, Katie, what we were talking about earlier, this, another thing to say to yourself when you're afraid of being seen is it's about connection over attention. It's about connection over attention every time. So remember that the reason that you're putting yourself out there is so people can connect with you because they want to see a human. It's not about you, it's about your clients and your customers, and it's the story, it's the people that need to hear your story so they can connect with your service. People need to hear your story in order to connect. And so it's a lot scarier when you're thinking about the attention that you're gonna get and all of a sudden you start to project your own fears onto other people and all the other things that you think they're gonna say. But when you go in with a mindset of just helping and you're there to connect, you're there to be a person, and you're there just to literally be the human embodiment of this service or this experience, it's a totally different mindset. And I know that my clients need to hear this so that they know that I was once in their shoes and that I figured it out for myself. And I want them to know that they can figure it out for themselves. So you can even picture a specific person that you're talking to, which really helps. And so that way you can just remember the whole time that all you're doing is just trying to connect. You're connecting with this camera, pretending it's your client, pretending it's your person. So connection over attention. Love this mantra. Yes, this resonates. Oh, good. Yes, this seems like a very you thing to think about. Connection over attention. It's not about the attention. It's about helping. Another thing to remember when you're afraid to put yourself out there is set boundaries. Set boundaries. And just like everything else in life, you are allowed to set boundaries on how much you share. Just because you're getting online does not mean that you need to read your diary. It doesn't mean that you need to share your innermost fears at every point. Some people do that, and that's great. And if they're comfortable doing that, by all means, but that is not the point of this. The point of this is literally just to put your face out there in order for people to have a human connection with your brand. So for example, I don't feel really comfortable sharing pictures of my daughter all over the internet. It's not, I just want to keep her private, help her keep her privacy. And I just don't want her image everywhere. And so I just don't share pictures of her all the time. Like, do I think that selling, like having my daughter's adorable face all over my brand would help sell me? Yes. Like, yes, I do. But it's more important for me to keep her privacy. And so I don't share. And so that's a boundary that I've set and something that I honor for myself. And so I mean, I'll share like a select few, or I'll share like the back of her head, you know, and things like that. But for the most part, that's a boundary I've set, and it's okay to set your own. Even if other people don't have those same limits. And then the last thing to remember when you're afraid of being seen is to start small. That's okay. You don't have to be all of a sudden like in your stories, like talking to the camera, like every single minute of every single day in order to connect with your audience. But, you know, maybe every like 4 posts on your feed, share a picture of yourself. Maybe, or start even smaller. Today, post 1 picture of yourself to your story. Just one picture of yourself. It can be with like a little caption just saying, you know, like, hoping you'll click the link below, or, you know, it's something really simple, but just start just mixing in a little bit of yourself. It doesn't have to be really crazy. Oh, and another good tip is write 3 stories that you're comfortable sharing. So this kind of ties in with the boundaries too. So write 3 stories that connect you to your audience. Something that kind of shows that you were in their shoes and that you overcame an issue that they're having. That's all you need is 3 stories, and then you can share that in 100 different ways. You can just put a sentence of one of those stories in a caption of an Instagram post. Like maybe you'll share an actual story, you know, get brave and share the full story live someday, but that doesn't mean you have to start that way. You can start with 3 different posts that each kind of share that story and have like a pain point of your customer and tell you how you've overcome that yourself. Share your 3 different stories, and then start just mixing in little snippets, and, you know, kind of be like how I share how I quit my job, you know. And so now it's like I've shared that story, and that's something that I can kind of keep bringing up and using that to connect with people, to say like, I know how scary it is to start a business. I know how scary it is. I know how scary it is to leave something definite and to start your own business, but you can do this. I did it. You can do it. And so I'm not sitting there talking about my diary and my first boyfriend and, you know, all these things, but I found something that I can use to connect with my audience. And so honestly, just start, y'all. It gets easier, I promise, but really the ultimate trick is just being brave enough to suck. Be brave enough to suck to start, because you're going to, and that's okay. And that's okay. That's how everybody starts. If you go back, like find the people that you really love to follow, and like go all the way down to their first posts, and it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing. They're not perfect either, but they're just starting to put themselves out there, you know? And it's like, I know it's a little scary when it feels like people can associate your work with your face, but also once you start to do well, people associate your work with your face, you know? And all of a sudden that's you. And, it's so important. It's so important just for helping humanize your brand, for helping people connect with you, and for making sales. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if it was. I'm going to ask you again, please send me questions if there's ever anything that you just want to learn about. I am always looking for good topics and things that I always want to know what you want to know. So please reach out. I'll see you next Monday at 1:30 p.m. PST for more branding and design tips.